Hey everybody, welcome back to the Falling Apart video series. We're here today for part 5, where we're going to talk about the title track from my debut album, Falling Apart, which is set for release 1 week from today, and I can just feel that you are as excited as I am. So thank you very much for coming along on this journey with me. Falling Apart, that's the song we're going to talk about today. Something that is, I think, noteworthy about this song is that I hadn't finished the lyrics for it by the time it was we were set to record it in the studio. And I didn't really, I had no idea that this was going to be a thing that I ended up doing with this project. I set out to make this record a couple years ago just to do it. I was making a little bit more money at the time than I was spending on my bills, and it was something that I always wanted to do. I believed in the quality of my songwriting and felt like it would be nice to hear studio quality versions of my songs. And so I reached out to somebody that I knew, and he was more than happy to work with me, Barry, and he introduced me to Tim, who he works with, and the three of us set out on making this record, and it's been fantastic. And it wasn't until I was close to, we were pretty much wrapping up, or we had sort of figured out, we had everything outlined for what was left that needed to be done, that I said to myself that this was something that I wanted to do with what this turned into over the course of that about year and a half up to that point. Now, we were midway through the process of sketching everything out and getting sort of, I guess what you would call like demo takes on each of these songs, and I knew I wanted to have lyrics ready for when that happened. I wrote this song in June of 2008, and so that's about a month after the end of that, which we talked about last time. I was working as a trash man, and, surprisingly, I was working as a trash man for $8 an hour, and, I was spending a lot of my time going down to see a buddy of mine in South Philly, and we were just drinking and smoking weed. And, that's basically what my life revolved around. And I recognized that wasn't necessarily the best thing for me. It took me a very long time to get to a point where I kind of understood that I had a troublesome relationship with substances, and it took way longer than that for me to realize that I was living my life based around these things. And sort of the crux of the message of the lyrics of the song is, this is messy, and it's not my, it's not always fun, but and I was sure would love to get my life in order and put everything nice and neat, but it's, it's too much fun falling apart. It's the entirety of it, just the pursuit of it, the lifestyle of it, I thought was so cool. And, I romanticized this perception that I had of myself, of this guy working this really crappy blue-collar job, putting in my dues, biding my time, writing these songs, and then I'm going to be big, and, like I'm sure a lot of people can relate to. But that, that wasn't backed up by any kind of constructive action, So the fact of the matter is I was just a kid who was running around getting drunk and high and doing pretty much nothing else. And when I got sober, almost 5 years ago, it even took a little bit of time after that process started, after I started looking back a little more honestly at these things, that I realized that I started getting high every day, like as soon as I could. And when I was writing this song, there's a line, about trying to get drunk, and I didn't have any problem being honest about that. And I realized, as I was getting set to record this in the studio, and what do I do about this hole that, I need 2 lines here. I'm missing 2 lines of lyrics. There's a big hole in this song. And I realized that, when I wrote the song, I was not willing to be honest about how much I wanted to get high. It's not necessarily the most socially acceptable thing to come out and say, I'm trying to get high right now. And so that's what ended up filling that hole, a line about, trying to get high. But this dealer is late. And, so the song sort of describes my approach to life, basically, at this point. And it goes very much hand in hand with My Own Best Enemy. So, it's sort of that same, it's the same problem, just a little bit of a different perspective on it, with this like romanticized take on the pain and the anguish of living your life this way. But I was convincing myself that, I was a struggling artist, that I was, these are the hard times, and one day I'll break through. And that's just not true. That was never true. I was deluding myself. But I'll play you the song now. I hope you like it. I want you guys to know that there is just some really tight, sexy lead guitar work on this track, both in the intro and the guitar solo. And I hope you will enjoy that and look forward to it. We got 1 week until it's on the streaming services and in the digital stores. So if you're looking, it's the title track. It's the first track on the album. The intention was to melt your face right away, and I think we accomplished that goal. So you'll have to let me know next week whether or not that is the case. But in the meantime, this is Falling Apart. Trying to get lost, but I know this town like the back of my hand. Why can't you understand what goes on in my head? I'm trying to get laid, but the girls around here all know me too well. They can all tell I'm only after one thing, and it's no use, I'm lost and confused, trapped right down, and there's no way out, and I don't know where to go. losing my mind when I'm sober and clean. I'm trying to get home, but I'm all out of gas and my phone just died. I guess I shouldn't have lied when I told you where I'd gone. All this time I've been trying so hard to fold it all back together, but it's too damn fun just to fall, and it's too damn fun just to fall, and it's too damn fun just to falling apart. Oh, so there it is. Thanks so much for tuning in. I really appreciate it, and I hope you're as excited again as I am for our release next week. Also, I was when I recorded the lyrics on that track, I just sort of like leaned away from the mic during the guitar solo and was just like talking to those guys, and I told them to leave it in. So if you can tell me what I'm saying when it comes out, I will give you $10. And if it's embarrassing and you keep it to yourself, I will give you $20. So there's the, if you're a little bit short, I'm here to help. I really hope you guys will come back next week and check it, continue to stay with me as we look forward to the next installation in this video series, going behind the music, so to speak, to the stories here. I thank you again for your attention, for your interest. I hope I didn't bore, and we'll see you next week. Take care.